Brother, I ate the most delicious chicken last week, John. I don't know how they do it. Every time, it's so good. It makes me so happy. And it's HelloFresh, guys. They have the best meals, the best quality. You guys can get up to 16 free meals and 3 free gifts when you go to HelloFresh.com/Genius16. That is HelloFresh.com/Genius16. Now, on to the show. All right, John. It's your turn.
It's all on me.
Give us a big intro.
Okay.
Wind us up.
No, don't do that to me. You know I don't have one.
This is our biggest episode ever. 4 guests on the show, including us.
Okay, I thought it was my
It's
intro.
kind of a dumb thing to say.
4 guests, biggest show ever, including us. We have with us the Max Tech crew. Hang on.
Hey.
They said it couldn't be done, Sam.
They one
They
week
said it couldn't be done.
1 week we have beef. The next it's already been squashed. No, we don't actually have beef. Hey guys, welcome to Genius Bar. This was you know what? If anybody ever says the comments don't matter, you're freaking wrong.
You're freaking
Because
wrong.
we read the comments,
I can't.
and
put
one of
them-
those comments said you should have Max Tech on. And then I think you guys also commented on the show and we're like, hey, we'd love to come on. Vadim reached out in the DMs and we were like, yeah, like, I don't know. I feel like one of those things that's always really important to me. It's like, if we're going to like say something, like give people the opportunity to respond, like outside of a tweet or a DM or something. I don't know. I feel like, and I want to hear your guys' like, I want to go through the process of testing and hear what you guys think, because I think it'll be fun. And we've never had you on the show and you guys make great videos. So we're super happy to have you here.
Thanks.
Okay, so Sam, I feel like we should catch everybody up. Tell them why we're here. First of all,
sound like we're
we're
in trouble.
Yeah, we're already in trouble. Okay, first of all, hi guys. I feel like we haven't given them a chance to speak yet.
Hey, it's awesome to be here.
Okay,
You guys are great, so it's fun watching
you guys are
podcast.
great.
Thank you.
We may have said some stuff in the last episode that caused the comments to all mention Max Tech as a whole, and they wanted them on the show. And so we are men of the people, and so here we are. We have them on the show. But this all stemmed from MacBook Pro drama, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
Specifically,
Isn't that crazy?
What is?
Like we're like, there's drama about a computer, bro. Do you know what's going on in the world right now? It's like a war.
Oh, man.
People are dying.
Jumping right into it, Sam.
For real. I just want to hear your guys' take. So, right, you've made the videos. I spent like 4 hours today watching every video you guys made about the M2 MacBook Pro. So I feel like I'm ready to talk about it, and I just want to hear your thoughts. Like I heard in videos you were making comments, you know, sort of throwing some light but healthy shade at other reviewers, you know, screenshots of people sort of with contrary things, coming up with different stuff. And I appreciated that. Like it was very fun to watch the videos, and I feel like as a Max Tech viewer, I was like, these guys are watching out for me. These guys love me. So what are your takes on the drama? You guys made 4,000 videos on the M2 MacBook Pro.
Make it 4,001 with this one.
What was that process like?
There's more coming.
Good.
There is. Vadim, do you want to take it away? I feel like it's hard because this 4. Maybe I shouldn't have came on. I don't know. But it's like, who's gonna talk first or second?
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah. I'll start from the top. Basically, we got the machines in. We started testing them. We discovered the whole SSD being slow, and then I think Max was on camera and he mentioned like, "Hey, this could impact the virtual memory swap performance," because Apple makes a big deal about their virtual memory swap fast SSDs in the 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pros, which help the performance. And now we're like, what the heck? Why is this SSD twice as slow compared to the old M1? So we came in the morning. We were going to do a different video, but we're like, hey, let's test this out. So we tested it out, and we noticed like the performance would drop down significantly. So we're like, hey, we got to make a video. Like, this is pretty huge stuff. So we started making the video showing the performance go down. And the crazy thing is, it was only, simple tasks with like 10 Chrome tabs. Later we even did Safari tabs.
Simple tasks.
The same thing. Yeah, I mean, like 4K editing, HEVC.
Tell them how much tabs you have open at the same time on your iMac.
Oh my God, I feel like I'm afraid to know this answer.
Well, when I edit, I have Safari open with like 5 or 6 tabs from like Google Drive, documents. And then sometimes I have like 20, 30, 40 tabs because I'm like researching for a video. And then like I'm thinking about the next video idea. And I'm like, oh man, I got to have these tabs open for the next video so I can't close them. Like literally, I have a ton of tabs. That's on my iMac Pro. So I think, Max, you just sold it, right? Today?
Yeah, he's coming tomorrow. You almost lost your iMac Pro. We've been trying to sell that thing. Same with the Mac Pro for a year now. Nobody wants them. Nobody wants these Intel machines. Yeah.
I feel like times are tight right now for people, and maybe that's why. I mean, it's not like the value. Or wait, is it an Intel MacBook Pro or a Mac Pro?
Oh yeah, they're Intel. Intel, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, I didn't know if you said. I couldn't tell if you because you were breaking up. I didn't know if you said MacBook Pro or Mac Pro. Mac Pro, that makes sense. Someone when like the Mac Studio stuff was happening, someone very kind, they reached out from like, I don't know, I think it was a church like somewhere near me. They reached out to like, hey, we have a Mac Pro we're willing to sell you. I'm like, thank you, but also that's like the worst thing I could do right now, like with Apple Silicon being a thing. It was like, it was a spec'd out Mac Pro, but that's just not the direction
did
everything
you say
is moving.
Church, a house of God, had a spec'd out Mac Pro?
Yes. Yes.
What? Bro,
yes.
I need to start doing Sunday offerings that I update. Yeah, holy shit.
I mean, do you
hey guys,
want
if
it?
you're watching this, we're doing a collection halfway through the show for Sam Kohl.
I'm pretty sure, dude. I'm pretty
Pro.
sure they still have it. So, I mean, I don't think they sold it. If you want it, I'll be like, hey, Sam's interested. You want the Holy Mac Pro?
I think I'll just like stuff my M2 MacBook Pro inside of the Mac Pro and then call it an Apple Silicon.
Okay,
probably
so
be better too. Overkill.
So the tab god over here. What did you guys? When did you guys like? I would like to sort of put focus on the fact that because the tweet that really caused a lot of controversy was that just as a reply, a casual reply, you said that you kind of had the video planned already, so it made it look like a setup almost. And so just to right off the bat get your input on that.
Cool. Yeah, I can explain that. So I've explained this to Mark Ellis. I actually did.
No, you can't. Case closed. Thanks for watching. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Max Tech is the worst.
Okay, go ahead.
Just kidding.
All right, listen. All right, so like ever since Apple announced the Apple Silicon transition, I went like crazy, just hyping everybody up. I'm telling people, hey, this is going to be a revolution. And like people are making fun of me. They're saying, there's no way, like the last transition was horrible. There's no way Apple can make this smooth. And then, of course, the M1 Max come out, and like we hyped them up. We're making videos, and people are like, "Wow, these are good." Of course, even now, the M1 MacBook Air is amazing. And because like people just called us fanboys, Apple shill, you're getting paid by Apple. We're making comparisons to like Dell XPS and Windows laptops, and people are calling us, Apple fanboys. So what we decided to do is like, hey, let's be transparent. Let's make a top 10 M1 Mac problems video. And people are like, hey, awesome, thanks for pointing those issues out, those problems. We appreciate it. We appreciate the transparency. And we ended up making more videos like that. Like for the iPhone 12 Pro, we made it top 10 problems. Then we did that for the 13 Pro. We did it for basically every launch. We did it for the 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pros. We did it for the 24-inch iMac, the Mac Studio, M1 iPad Pro. Basically all the launches, we did it because the first one went well. We noticed that the long-term views went up. They did very well. And basically what we do with every launch these days is before we get the machines in, we make a Google Doc and we just brainstorm all the video ideas that we could potentially do. And then we even go back to our channel to the previous launches and we look at the videos and we're like, okay, this did well, this did well, this did well. Okay, let's repeat it again. And basically, that's how the whole, pre-planned thing that sounds absolutely terrible.
I see.
So it's not like I was like, oh, M2 MacBook, I'm going to destroy it. I'm going to plan this video. It's like we had it planned like even before we got them in. We're like, okay, this is one of the potential video ideas that we can do that should do well. And I'm sure you guys as well, when you look at your videos, you kind of repeat the same kind of ideas or general video scheme. multiple times, because it works, and that's the way YouTube works.
I'm glad that you added more context, because obviously tweets you only have like 10 characters. So just from the tweet, it looked like you guys had like been planning that video specifically, and so the added context of like, there was a whole process included, and you always planned on coming at it from both sides. It wasn't like you planned on attacking this machine right out of the gate. But I think in a tweet, obviously just as a reply, and Sam and we mentioned that we sort of made fun of it, that like right after that tweet, all the verified checks came out, because it was like, you just said the right words together and they all came out, and we were like very upset at you. So
yeah,
I guess it's easy to
that does add more context. I feel like this is a problem with YouTube, right? Is that the audience can kind of push you in a certain direction for content, as far as, what works and what doesn't.
Sam's connection took an absolute dump on us.
Dude, everybody's struggling.
Sam,
I don't think
that
was made to sport more
Ethernet
than...
cable again?
Yeah, guys, I'm doing some leg presses under the table. No, as I was saying before the internet rudely interrupted me, I feel like the audience can push us in a direction to make videos that aren't... I would say, okay, because... honestly, I spent all day watching the videos, and I think you guys did an excellent job on, like, the SSD performance is like totally ridiculous. The fact that the swap gets messed up and that impacts performance if you don't have the 16 gig model, like it really does make the base model bad. And I think you guys did an excellent job on that. I will say that the one thing that I do still like, that I guess I care about too much is like the problems video. I was like watching it, and I'm like, bruh, what is this? These boys are just hating to hate. The first two things you guys are like, it's the old design, old MacBook. I'm like, bro, that's what it is. Like that's what the computer is. I get it's not great, but then there was like the severe thermal throttling, which like happens in like a lot of fringe cases. And I think to challenge you guys and push on this, I think some of the criticism in the community is like Max Tech is testing these fringe cases to highlight extremely specific issues where most people that buy this computer would never run into it. Like most people that buy the M2 MacBook Pro are never going to run into thermal throttling issues ever. So seeing that in the title, people are like, oh, what? Like this seems like a lot.
I have a question that I think would help. Who do you guys think? Okay, so when you're making these videos, right? I think Sam and I have the same idea of like who this product is for or really isn't for. Who do you think the MacBook Pro, the M2 version that is for? And is that at all like influencing your decision or the sort of narratives that you're driving in these videos?
Who is Apple marketing this to? Like, for example, I've heard different people say, hey, this is just, Pro is just a branding, which obviously it is. This machine is for people who are going to surf the web, do something basic, maybe a little bit more than a MacBook Air. But then when you open up Apple's website, you don't need to guess who they're marketing it for. The first thing you see is performance. You see an advanced thermal system that will be working for, extended periods of time with the CPU and the GPU load. You see 8K multi-stream ProRes editing. You see what do they call the portable editing bay, like professional editing bay that you could take on the go. You see ultra fast SSDs that open up everything in a snap. That's not going to slow you down. I mean, I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the website open in front of me.
Yeah.
So there's a clear distinction and difference when you look at the MacBook Air or Pro. So just because it's not as high end or nice as a 14-inch doesn't mean that it's not for professionals. It's capable of really good work, especially looking back a year, or a year and a half to the previous generation. So if it's not for people that do want to do some photo editing, some coding, some video editing, maybe not the 8K raw footage, then why are they pushing it so hard? And then I know maybe Vadim mentioned it before, but even going out on, for example, Mkbhd's podcast and specifically saying that the Air, that's designed for light workloads. The Pro, you can run it extendedly for hours without any slowing down. I think we saw that after our video later, but that's coming straight from Apple. That's their PR. That's their website. When somebody goes out, they read that stack of different specs and those, hot kind of words. That's what it shows off.
Yeah. That's a fair point, honestly, Max. I agree with that, because that has been my argument for Apple calling the iPad Pro, and then, it's still not really being there. Like, you can do so much more in a MacBook Pro than an iPad Pro. So I think that adds additional context, and I think that's a very fair point to sort of push it in that direction. If I just look at their site, like, you nailed everything. Like, they talk about an advanced cooling system, and then you guys point out in your videos how the fan ramp is a bit slower on the M2s and the M1s, so therefore the temperatures get really, really hot. I didn't realize, like, those Celsius numbers are like, isn't it like almost 200 degrees Fahrenheit?
Oh, 108 is above boiling. 100 is 212. So I'll add a little bit more context on the thermal issue, and I think that went out of hand. It's so weird hearing this through this. That went out of hand a little bit too far, just because, Vadim talked about tweets, and then you have all these websites posting articles about it. But if you checked out that video, you said you watched, hours worth of video. We never went into it trying to show off, hey, we're going to put the craziest workload and we're going to destroy the system. And other reviewers and YouTubers are saying they're trying to sabotage it. They're trying to push it to the limits to destroy it. The honest thing is, if you saw that section of it, we're just doing a couple video editing tasks that we've done for years on many systems. On the M1, this didn't happen. So we're like, hey, we'll do a light task. It was a comparison against the 14-inch. So we're like, hey, if you're doing light 4K editing, you're not going to have an issue. It's going to work just as well. But if you're going to push both the CPU and the graphics, you're going to have some more effects. Let's see how much faster the 14-inch is, because we're going to push you towards that direction to make a good recommendation. And that's when it came out, and we saw that, something we've never seen before. And like the M1, I think Vadim retested it. Vadim, was it 95 that it ran at?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. It never throttled. So it was 100% GPU workload the entire time, no throttling at all. So that's the thing.
Yeah, and then with that too, I think the whole 8K raw thing sounds extreme. And I think maybe you guys might have said it yourselves too.
Yeah, we did.
Who would do that on that system? Well, I've done a little bit of this kind of editing on the M1. I don't shoot with this Kodak. I was testing that camera. So I did it. Not that you'd want to if you're doing it professionally. But the truth is, a workload like that, and we still think, and even in that video, we said, hey, this is pushing extreme. This is not going to be for everybody. But if you're doing, for example, say 3D rendering, I don't know if you guys do any of it, but some of these programs like Blender could do CPU and GPU. So that would give you a similar result. If you're using both the CPU and the GPU, you're pushing those hard. That's your wattage, stacks up and you get the heat. So
and I want to add to that a little bit too. Basically, like the issue that I personally have is like not with the machine and like, what it's capable of, but mostly Apple's marketing, where I think they're going a little bit overboard, where they're saying like, hey, this thing is meant for extended hours of CPU and GPU intense workloads. And then you had the Mkbhd podcast where I think Apple's PR said that it has guaranteed sustained performance, and that's why you would choose it over the M2 MacBook Air. And then you have like their entire marketing page for the M2 MacBook Pro just filled with stuff of it comparing to the previous M1, where it's like 1.5 times faster, 1.3 times faster, and then you get the base model expecting it to be the same as the other models, and you're getting worse performance just with 10 Chrome tabs open, because in the past, you could choose whatever SSD size you wanted, and there would never be a big difference. But this time, like the first time ever, as far as I know, you get the base model, and you're losing performance right out of the gate. Like I think we upgraded to the 512, we bought that model, and we got a 15% performance boost in, I think it was Lightroom editing, and that was with nothing open.
Nothing at all whatsoever. Who uses a computer that way? And then with some web browsing tabs, it was like 80%, I believe.
Well, maybe with your web browsing tabs.
No, if we put Vadim's web browsing tabs on there, I think it would just shut down and just retire.
What's wrong, Sam? Are you Sleepy?
I'm just not sleeping like I used to, John. I'm just so hot at night with this heat wave.
You know what I think you need, man? It's the summer. I think you need to be sleeping on your ChiliSleep.
Oh, what is that? It sounds like it would keep me cool.
It's a wonderful cooling pad, but that's.
Oh,
I'll get to the twist. There's a twist at the end, okay? But it's a cooling pad that lays on your bed, okay, right on top of your mattress. Can work with any mattress. You lay on it. You use your app, and you can either schedule the temperature of your bed, or you could just play with it yourself. I like to manually do it if I'm feeling frisky, but a lot of times I know what time I'm going to sleep, and so the ChiliSleep pad, it turns on every single night. So by the time I get into the bed, it's nice and cool. It's like clean sheets, clean, cool sheets, but every night. You know, like when you haven't been on your sheets, not even once, and then you lay on them that first time, and it's so cool. It's so nice. It's like that, but every single night. And that's just for the summer. What about the winter? It's like, can I only use this half the year?
Yeah, what's the catch?
Absolutely
What's
not.
the twist?
The twist is that in the winter, you can also have the bed be hot. So it's called ChiliSleep, but it could also be called the heaty sleep.
Warmy sleep. So you guys head over to chilisleep.com/genius to learn more and save 30% off the purchase of a new Cube or ULA sleep system. This offer is available exclusively for Genius Bar listeners and only for a limited time. That's Chili, CHILI, sleep.com/genius to take advantage of our exclusive discount and wake it refreshed every day.
Thank you, ChiliSleep. Okay, so I guess, my biggest question coming from this is like, so I get what you're saying. I understand like how you can justify the opinions that you have and the videos you've made. I guess my question is, why stick to it so hard? Like every day I was going on Twitter, I was seeing tweets about it, and it was as if Tim Cook like came to your house and ate your dog. It's like it felt like that. It felt deeply personal, and so I guess I just want to. Are you looking out for the audience? Are you trying to get Apple's attention from this? Do you want the media's attention? Like the whole, once you've covered the issue one time, I mean, to me, I get it. But then to continue to do that every day, I guess I want to know what you guys were hoping to achieve from that. Like, is there an overarching goal that you have from that?
Yeah, I could share.
I think there's... Vadim, you want to do the Twitter side and I'll do the YouTube side?
Sure, I'll do the Twitter side. Yeah,
because I don't use Twitter. I don't check Twitter. I don't post and stuff. I mean, for me personally, I'll share my side of it. When we posted up the first video, I did a lot of the hands-on comparisons. I said, hey, this could impact swap performance. On the SSD side, all right, it's slower. That sucks. You're going to have to wait a little bit longer for some transfers. Not the end of the world. But the whole unified memory architecture, that graphics that's really powerful, it's relying on having really fast RAM. You know, the whole SoC is designed that way. So I said, hey, it could slow it down because we've done real world tests in the past. And then when you get comments saying, you know, it doesn't really matter, that's not that big of a deal. And then you have other YouTubers go out and say, hey, why are you guys talking about this? Nobody's going to notice. It won't make a real and your benchmark, it shows it. You won't get a real world difference. So part of it is, you know, a little bit of pride, like, hey, we've tested this before. This could make a difference. And another part is just curiosity, like, will it make a difference? And if it does, how much? I think if you've looked at our channel over the past years, and before that, we worked on Apple Insider, made videos for them, and I did a camera channel before that. We're very analytical. We want to see the differences. You know, you have channels where you just talk about opinion. We test stuff out and say, hey, for you, you should upgrade. Here's the proof. For you, there's going to be no difference. Don't waste that $600. You won't see a difference at all. And that's why a lot of people love, you know, our channel, because we dig in and we actually have real world proof to this kind of stuff. So I think it just kind of escalated. And at the end, it got annoying testing it out. So it went from, there's no difference to there's not that much of a difference to, you know, and so we're testing it out and, you know, following it up, we buy another Mac. So everything's the same other than the SSD. And it's like, can an SSD make it 80% slower or faster? Yeah, it can. And not under extreme loads either. So Vadim, you want to say your side of it?
Yeah, basically, the reason we made so many videos is because we had comments asking us like, hey, can you please test this? Like, okay, sure, we'll do it. And then that's why we had more videos like, hey, please test, you know, the same RAM, but the bigger storage, you know, and we kept doing that. And then, you know, we had some drama where people were saying there's no difference. And I'm like, well, we got to show them there is a difference, you know, because the people are going out there believing like, oh, cool, there's no difference. I'm going to go buy the base model. I'm like, no, you don't want to buy the base model. Yeah. Nobody should buy it in the world. Do not buy the base model. So like personally for myself, like on the Twitter side, I would just say that with this launch, I got very disappointed, specifically with Apple, because like they marketed the crap out of this M2 MacBook Pro, and then they just butchered the SSD setup, and they just made so much hype about the M2 chip being 18% faster with the multi-core CPU, 35% faster GPU, and then they literally take away one of the NAND chips and just totally ruin the performance with simple multitasking. It's like, Apple, how could you do that? You know, I understand why they did that, because they're making some moves right now to boost their profit margins, specifically, you know, for the second quarter that they just had, because, you know, inflation, all that kind of stuff. But like, I think that was just a bad mistake. It was either a misjudgment or it was intentional. I mean, I hope not. I hope it wasn't intentional, but it definitely messed up their performance. And I'd almost go to say as like, I feel like there's Apple engineers that are sitting there saying like, hey guys, we need to have 2 chips. And then you have like the guys upstairs, the business guys, like, hey man, we got to save the profit margins. We got to cut down on one of the chips to save a little bit of money. And they're like, no, you know, you might mess up the virtual memory, but like, anyway, the issue is that you got the same chassis, all you got is the M2 chip, and by the time you get the machine to where it needs to be to kind of make the M2 chip shine, you got to upgrade the RAM and the storage, which you're up to $1,700 for a design that's been around since 2016. It's going to get outdated. You pay $100 more, you get the 14-inch with so many upgrades. You get the redesign, you got all the ports, the display, 120 hertz ProMotion. Every single thing is better about that machine. And it just feels so bad knowing that there are people out there going into the Apple Store and buying the base model M2, because that's all they stock in the Apple Store. They don't stock the upgraded models. So anybody who goes in buying the base model, and they're getting screwed if they're doing multitasking and like common 4K editing or photo editing. So it just sucks to see the people potentially making a bad decision where, like, you know, the M2 MacBook Air, that is a much better machine just because of the redesign and everything else. Much better machine. So that's why I just kind of got defensive on Twitter. You know, I can say I'm a bit stubborn, so
the Twitter war zone. The Vadim bombs going off. Everybody's like, ah!
Well, I know. It's like once
all the check marks.
Yeah, once the check marks kicked in, it made it almost like painted this as if I don't know, like you guys were coming at this with like a disingenuous point of view, almost like you did it on purpose. But I think that's less of your fault and more just how I think the responses from the quote unquote check marks was really what sort of to make the whole thing turn. Because at first your reply was fine, but then I think it might have been Gary, the everyday dad. You know, he was like, wait, so like you had the video already planned, and then that started like a snowball effect before you ever got a chance to sort of explain yourselves. But I think that, I mean, personally, you probably know, you're not surprised, but I feel like you guys care way too much about this stuff, but in the same sense, like, we need channels like yours. There's a lot of this community, the core community, that needs channels like yours, and because I'm not doing it and Sam's not doing it, so it's almost like if you and I can't think of a single channel that dives as deeply as you do. So it's like, if you guys aren't doing it, who's doing it? Is the information getting out in any way? Because I mean, you guys would know. I mean, it's like when I think of tech news channels, I can name a few tech news shows because I know what my competition is. Would you say, and you're allowed to answer this honestly, would you say there's anyone that stacks up to what you guys are doing it and how you guys are doing it?
Should I go?
Yeah, there's. Yeah, go ahead, Max. Yeah, you go ahead.
Well, there are a few channels that are on a smaller scale. Some of them focus on specific things that do in-depth testing, that do a good job. But there's not many. There's a lot of people that do tech reviews. They'll run a couple benchmarks, and that's it. And that's completely fine. We absolutely need channels like that. We need channels that are very simple, basic, opinion-based, short videos. But we also need channels that do what we do. And if you look back, I mean, you could say that, hey, we're digging for something that's negative. But if you look back at our history, we have a lot of positive videos. We also have negative ones. And a lot of it also, when you're watching the videos, there's context there. So those comparison videos, when we show something not working well, we'll say, hey, you should do this instead. Or like the top problems video. I don't know about the latest one, but a lot of them we have solutions for. So for example, we did a video that the M1 only supports one display, or even the M2. And you'd be surprised by how many people, even after like an Apple event, they don't know, because Apple doesn't show off, this can only do one display. So we make a video 2-3 days later and people are like, are you serious? There's still one display. So we tell them in the video, there's a workaround. You buy this dock or this adapter, you can make that work. Or for example, because of all our analytical testing, we find out issues like this. And then people say, hey, you're digging for that because you're doing testing. But we also try offering solutions. There you go. For example, with the fans not ramping up as fast. As soon as we saw that and it hitting 105, like 10 degrees higher than the previous version, we said, download TG Fan Pro, make your own curve. You don't have to make it go crazy, but adjust it if you don't like it going that hot. For example, the i9 MacBooks, they would have their fans run if you just connect to a display, and then Intel Power Boost would just kick in. So we found that issue because of our testing. We said, download this Intel Turbo Boost switcher. Bam, you take that off. It's working great. A lot of those kind of things. For example, other things that people appreciate that care. For example, 14-inch MacBook Pro, if you're buying the M1 Max model, the 24-core model is actually faster than the 32 if you're really pushing your system, which is when you'd want extra performance because the other one downclocks. So there's been a lot of that kind of stuff that we found. We try giving people solutions, workarounds, and in general, helping people, choose the best machine with testing that's specific to what they do. Over the years, we've had a lot of tests just because people ask for it. And then when they come and they see that, they'll know what to choose instead of just sitting down in front of a camera and saying, hey, you should get this spec, which does ruffle our feathers, with some other people. When, you sit in front of a camera, say, you know what, just go ahead and upgrade your SSD to 512 or a terabyte. You'll use it in the future. Just go ahead and upgrade to 16 gig or 24. That won't be bad. I know your budget's $1,300, but go up to $2,200 or $2,500. It's only a certain amount of dollars per month. And then, which most people that are looking at this kind of machine, that's not what they're wanting to do, or you get into the 14-inch territory, things like that.
Yeah. I mean, I assume you guys like reflecting on this stuff, right? Like you see where people are coming from where they're like, bro, 7 videos on this like laptop that was supposed to like be a press release and move on, or not a press release, but like the small, like I assume you guys see where people are coming from where they're like, that seems like a lot. Like I feel like I don't make 7 videos on like the iPhone 14
I was gonna say,
Pro after I was gonna
say, do you know who you're hosting the show with?
Every video, iPhone 14.
Literally every video is that. Yes,
I'm like every other video, but no, my
works.
Point being,
it
like,
works.
Do you guys see where? Do you see where like people are coming from when they're like, this seems weird, this seems sus?
Absolutely. And we actually watched sorry, Vadim, you let me know when you'll take over. I start talking.
It also doesn't help that, okay, so for the video watchers, I have tiny little thumbnails to switch through. They look the same and they sound the same. So like, I have no idea who to switch to.
Oh, man.
I have follow-up questions about that later.
Okay. Go ahead.
Cool. I wanted to say.
Go ahead, Vadim.
Which one's Vadim? That's the question.
You're Vadim and you're Max. I know who you are. It's just when the thumbnails are this small, I can't figure out who's talking. Okay,
guys, half the viewers on the channel don't know we're two people. Every time we're in the video together,
that I'm not even gonna lie, that happened to me like I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago, where like my mind exploded when I realized you are two different people. Because it's like
Same.
if you just casually like once every month or whatever, you see a Max Tech video, you're like, okay, so one guy, his name is Max. But then like if you start to watch more, like eventually I start, I subscribed, I start watching all of your videos, and then I get used to seeing somebody. And all of a sudden, it like somebody just subtly swaps the facial features of the person. I'm like, am I, what? Is it me? Am I crazy? Or are these two different people? Yes, it's two entirely different people.
It's like Max Tech and then Max Tech at home. It's just like slightly different.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, man. Yeah, I could get a little bit into the context for like, the multiple videos. So the one thing we focus on a little bit at Max Tech is long-term views, things that can get searched up for, a year and a half. So that's why you see so many comparisons, because the comparisons, they get searched up for a long time. Like even to this day, like one of our top videos for performance, over the last hour is an M1 MacBook Air versus two, Surface laptops. I think with the AMD and the Intel version, and it's like, man, people are still watching this. Basically, they do very well. And like when I was working for Apple Insider, I started doing a lot of research on SEO and all this kind of stuff, and I realized, like, hey, if you can build up like a core amount of viewership from long-term views, even if you have like a down season where there's really nothing going on, like a tech news drought, those older videos will kind of lift up the entire channel, including tutorials, like, how to reset your Mac, how to reset your iPhone, that kind of stuff that gets searched up. And that kind of stuff helps a lot of people. Still to this day, you get comments saying, hey, thanks for the tutorial and, all this kind of stuff. And people are still trying to figure out, if they should buy an M1 MacBook Air or an M1 MacBook Pro from like almost 2 years ago,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question.
That makes
sense.
Go ahead.
I mean, you can go if you have something to say real quick.
Well, we have a ton of videos, but we also post 6 videos a week, sometimes 7. So when you're posting that many videos, and our goal is to, create content, and there's a brand new launch, we definitely go heavy. We answer, to a lot of requests, whatever people ask of us. And then those specific stuff. So like each video, obviously it's like, man, this MacBook video after MacBook, but it's like, hey, MacBook versus MacBook Air compared to the 14-inch, how much RAM? And so each video has a specific topic, and it's stuff that people search up. So when somebody's at the Apple Store or Best Buy, they're going to search up, should I buy this Mac or this Mac? And then of course they're going to find that relevant video, and it's going to help them out. So a lot of the views are, from search, because content specific. They can skip to the photo editing section. Bam, they see exactly what they want, and then they can make a good choice.
Okay, I have a very important question about your content. And this is the most
drum roll.
Yeah. Do you have one? That'll do. This is the most important question you're going to get all night. Thank you. That's enough. Why is it not Vadim Tech?
Wait, I was gonna ask that.
Nope, I win.
That was literally my first question.
I win. Do you want to You want to ask Sam so we can both do it?
Yeah, can we say it at the same time?
No, just pretend I didn't ask. Sam, you had a question. What is it?
Yeah. Why is Max the better tech? Question mark.
Okay.
Yeah. I assume it was Max's channel first or something. Then you guys joined together as like a super brother duo.
What is the answer?
You want to take it away?
Sure. Well, basically, when we were thinking about it, first of all, Max owns the channel, so I technically work for him. But when we're thinking about the name, Max can also be general, so it could be Maximum Tech, kind of like that.
That's so what I thought it was until I realized there's also a dude named Max. I was like, okay, it's Vadim, okay, but the channel is Max Tech, like Maximum. It took me so long to realize that you guys were not the same person.
Yeah, we're brothers, actually. So.
Well, yeah, I figured that part out.
Yeah. If that's obvious.
Yeah.
That's a follow-up question that I have about that is like, how the hell do you guys put out 6 18-minute videos in a week that are like filled with data and testing? Like, how is that even possible?
And how
I can't do it, bro. How do you must have like a team of like what, like 40 little like yellow minions from the new movie? Does Gru work for Max Tech?
So we have our sister, whose name is Angelica. You can see her in some of our camera comparisons when there's iPhone launches or Samsung launches. So she does most of our video editing. So it's 3 of us. And she works not full-time, even it's busier, closer to full-time. But I think we focused over the years on efficiency, being quick. There's still like, for example, you watch one of those 18, 20, 25-minute videos, we're shooting for 4.5 hours. But as we're shooting, we're handing off footage every half hour, 45 minutes to her, and she's editing as we're shooting. So we have a system down. We try to optimize as quickly as we can. We have, a server set up, all that kind of stuff. So we tried to, implement way more testing than most people are willing to do. And that's not bad. Right. It's a pain. It's a lot of hard work. But we try to do a good job and get the videos out quick, especially when people are sitting there waiting, to order something based on how well it's going to work for their workflow. And then they're making those kind of decisions, which is why we take our job so seriously too, maybe sometimes too seriously when we're testing it out and we're seeing like the most recent one. It was like the $850 M1 MacBook Air. You can buy it. That's like the best deal if you want to buy one on Amazon, and it's beating out the M2. That's $1,300 with not even 10. We toned it down, like 5 Chrome tabs and like video light photo editing, and the M2 is slower. So yeah, we're like, people need to see this, and people are responding. Yeah. I think maybe it was you guys that said, or somebody else that said that maybe Apple wanted this to happen. This info gets out there. People are like, man, I don't want to buy the base model. It is slower. I'll spend $200 I wasn't going to spend. And at the end of the day, it's better for Apple. They're making more money, and everything got out there. So
right.
Do you guys talk to Apple at all? Like, has there ever been a line of communication? I feel like we joke about like me and John being on the blacklist, but I feel like you guys might be on like the platinum blacklist.
Platinum blacklist. Oh no, man. We make so many leak videos. I mean, I make videos titled like "Stop, don't buy the AirPods Pro, don't buy the Apple Watch." I'm sure Apple doesn't like that, But I mean, it's good advice because it's like, hey, in 2 months, new AirPods Pro are going to come out. You should probably not buy them right now. And then people are like, hey, thanks, So hopefully it helps people if they see that and then they hold off for a couple months. They're getting brand new AirPods or a brand new Apple Watch, So I'm sure we're on the blacklist. We're way on the blacklist.
Vadim, my guy, we getting a Square Apple Watch this year?
Hey, yeah, let's talk about that. Honestly, yeah. I mean, one thing I loved seeing when you did the podcast with Mac Rumors.
Yeah.
And then you whipped out your phone and you're like, boom, look at these renders that we got leaked. Oh my God.
I never that's one of those, I almost thought about messaging you because that was like one of those times where I was like, I'll just do it on the Mac Rumors podcast. It's a podcast. No one will see it. And then it's I look the next day and it's in the thumbnail of your video. And I'm like, oh God, what did I do?
I made that whole video dedicated to that.
You really did. Oh my God.
But it's a big deal because like you got the render and then you saw the flat design. You thought that was a Series
but it was like
7.
a mix. Like I was like, I'm glad that he's I'm glad that he's standing up for me, and I'm glad that he's like, amplifying this information, but also he's amplifying this information, and it was a picture that I never wanted to get out there. And I was like, I'll just casually show it on the Mac Rumors podcast. And of course, you watch every minute of it all, and the second I dropped that picture, you're like, yes.
I actually changed the thumbnail because I felt kind of weird. Like maybe he doesn't want this on there. So I
mean, it's too late now.
I think that was good.
I didn't see it. That's funny.
But the crazy thing is, like, I think Mark Gurman over the past week on Sunday, he finally said
Mark Gurman.
He finally said Apple Watch Pro, and I was like, boom! Like I've been trying to tell you guys, I made 3 videos over the last 6 months with Apple Watch Series 8 Pro.
You have been saying that, yeah.
I've been trying to make the case for it because I'm like, hey, if they're making a new design that's going to have a larger display, like, how would they sell it? The only way you sell it is you call it the Pro. No one wants the rugged edition.
Yeah.
Who cares about that? You want the Pro. So that's how Apple sells it, you know? That's how you pay, you know, $800 or $1,000. It already has that titanium.
Just like the M2 MacBook Pro.
Everything.
Yeah.
Ring, 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 ring,
Hello.
ring. I have a call from, who's that? Ryan Reynolds.
Wow, he's on the podcast. Welcome to the podcast.
/genius, owned by Ryan Reynolds.
Wow, but you know what? It's not Ryan that you're here for. It's actually the fact that they offer premium wireless. They're starting at $15 a month. It's like, what's the catch, right? Because I'm like, it's got to be bad. No, they have the secret sauce is that they're the first company to sell wireless service online only. So they pass that savings of not having like retail stores and like the in-person employees onto you guys. So if you hate your phone bill, which I do, I pay so much a month. That's why I use MintMobile for my second line. It offers premium wireless. John, just $15 a month with the best rate. When you're buying for yourself, for your family, for your dog, maybe your dog needs a chip.
Yeah.
You want your dog to have 5G? That's $15 a month.
For $15 a month, that's pretty much free. Sure, my dog can have 5G. That's fine.
Absolutely. So, hey, get your wireless plan shipped to you for just $15 a month. Get the plan shipped to your door for free. Did we say it's for free?
For free.
For free.
Stop overpaying. MintMobile.com/genius. You're just throwing money away every month. Get started for just $15 a month. Of course, you can be flexible. Create your own plans. You can bring your own device. You can buy your own device. They sell devices. It's a whole thing. MintMobile.com/genius to get started right now.
And thanks for Mint Mobile for sponsoring for this podcast forever. We have to talk about this, John.
Sam, I can't do this.
John sent me a few messages after this last week, and he was I will use the word excited. I will use the word.
Yeah, that's the word.
Excited. So let me as the neutral party here describe this. So Mark Gurman, as you guys know, if you've been listening to the show for a while, he is still like the best Apple source of all time as far as quantitative links and quality. Like statistically, he is the best. I want to give him that first. He has been very kind to me in the past. He has not been kind to John or others, which is not cool with me. So like, for example, he does News Story. I mean, I guess this is an Apple News podcast. We should talk about this. This is a pretty big deal where he was like, yeah, the rugged Apple Watch is going to have a 2-inch display, special metal casing, and it'll have a better battery. Like this is going to be the first Apple Watch in history that has a better battery. And of course, in Zoomer fashion, Ian hits him instantly, like seconds later.
I know.
With, but is it flat? And instantly Gurman replies, just like, oh man, I could just hear him say it. What do you think? Based on the history of the source of your renders. So it's instantly getting spicy, okay? It's getting so spicy out here. So John has the perfect comeback, which is you really trying to act like you didn't say literally the exact same thing 48 hours before the event, in which I think John probably has this in his favorites album.
I did.
Mark Gurman,
I've had this ready to go.
Yes, he has this edited image. It says Apple Watch Series 7. There's going to be a new design. Well, the iPhone won't be seeing any monumentous design changes. Mark Gurman says the Apple Watch will look for a flat screen and flat edges to match the iPhone and iPad design.
Oh, bro. This man really tried to do that to me. Like, okay, he keeps saying this stuff, like just these sly remarks on Twitter, and I try not to say anything.
Look at the response. It says you should be a guest on Genius Podcast. Agree?
He won't do it.
No, we
he's a pussy. He won't do it. Okay.
Okay, I didn't say that.
I said it.
But
okay.
You said it. I have asked Mark if he would like to come on.
Mark Gurman.
I feel like for that, we would have to do. Actually, I feel like I'd be a pretty good middle person. I feel like I generally keep it pretty in the middle for like.
Okay, Mark Gurman, I will give you $1,000 if you come on the show.
Ooh.
Okay, there you go. I want him on so bad that I will.
Can we get 2,000 for a Mark Gurman, John Prosser debate?
No, 1,000's my offer. Take it or leave it.
I'll throw in $3, $1,003 if you come on Genius Bar, Mark. I just want to talk to you because, like, you know,
no, don't suck up to him. We don't suck up to him. No, we do not. Okay, so here's the issue. I wasn't going to say anything, but he always does this on Twitter. He always has these sly remarks, except the man said literally the exact same thing. If you watch any Max Tech video, anytime they talk about the flat Apple Watch, they say John Prosser, Mark Gurman. Sit right next to each other. They say it. Mark, have you never seen a Max Tech video? They say it every single time. I don't know how you're missing it. Does he forget that he says these things? Does he not think I'll remember? What's the issue? Why is he the way that he is?
I think that's the problem, right? Is that, like, when John gets something wrong, he, like, shaves his eyebrows.
I shaved off my eyebrows! And then Mark fucking Gurman went, it's a little rounder than we expected. No, bro, you were all, not only were you wrong more recently than I was. I put out those renders 7 months before you said it. And then 7 months later, even closer to the Apple event, you're like, it's flat. Actually, it's flat and the screen's flat.
No, keep going.
You good?
Keep going. There's the music.
That's it.
I was a little bit.
I want to be done.
Gurman, come on the podcast. It is time. Sorry, this is supposed to be about Max Tech. Let's go back to the show.
I'm maximum upset is what I am.
That was amazing. Don't worry, Vadim's going to clip that, and that'll be in the next Max Tech Apple Watch video.
Sweet God.
Hey, man, all I got to say, I'm glad Mark Gurman's out there, you know. We're getting some good stuff from him, too.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very grateful for Mark Gurman. I'm so grateful. I'd be even more grateful if he came on the show. And we could talk it out. Imagine that, Mark. If we weren't bickering back and forth and you just came on the show all at one time and then this could all be fixed. Just saying.
That's what I want.
It could be fixed and you could have 1,000 more doll hairs.
1,003.
1,003.
Which is almost enough to buy an M2 MacBook Pro.
Almost.
But only the base model.
Worst money
Only the base
you
model.
could spend.
Yeah, the worst money you could spend. Okay, well, I want to ask you guys, because I feel like you're the people, like you and Luke Meonery, who I go to for like my Mac stuff. And I want to hear your thoughts about the M2 MacBook Air, because I feel like this is what everyone is asking. Like, if the M2 MacBook Pro kind of sus, what is the M2 MacBook Air that don't even have a fan gonna do? Is that gonna get to 100 trillion degrees Celsius and freaking explode? What's gonna happen?
Cool. Well, so here's my thoughts on it.
Cool.
Yeah, it is gonna explode. You guys heard it here? Max Tech, their next thumbnail is gonna be our M2 MacBook Air fucking exploded.
Yeah.
we did export 40 16K videos simultaneously
we
on the
also
same
had 80
core,
tabs open.
and we installed a fan on the side and then one USB port. I'm just memeing.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so what's the move?
Plugged
What's happening?
MacBook Pro into car battery, had fire. Okay.
Well, I think the expectations match up better because you're getting a fanless Mac, so you're not expecting it to be, crazy cool right out of the gate. It's not matching up to Apple's crazy marketing claims of guaranteed sustained performance. But I do think that when we tested, hopefully they kind of gave it a new kind of heat pipe design without the fan. Maybe that's going to help. But there is a chance that in some tasks, like 100% CPU, it might throttle a little bit. We don't know. Hopefully not. But I don't think the throttling is going to be a big issue because it's more consumer focused than the MacBook Pro. So even if it does throttle a little bit, it's still going to be faster than the M1. Except if it has that single NAND SSD chip issue, that's what I'm worried about. I really hope it doesn't because it's going to mess with the multitasking. But I guess the benefit for Apple is the M3 is going to look really good if it has 2 NAND chips.
Yeah.
So
I think we're excited. We're super excited. We've been waiting for a redesign for a while. We recommended the M1 MacBook Air to everybody. Like, people might have got annoyed. Don't buy the M1 MacBook Pro. Get the Air. It's amazing. No fan, but it works great. The M2, way better. You have the redesign, all the other stuff we've talked about. So we're super excited about it. We'll see what happens. I know this whole SSD thing is just, everybody's tired of it. But it'd be crazy if they didn't do that. Vadim and I were just talking about that today. If they put in the correct setup for their Apple Silicon, that'll just show that this MacBook Pro is just a pure profit machine. And one thing we didn't cover earlier, I don't know if Sam caught it in our video, but do you guys know how much one of those NANDs cost when you're buying them in bulk?
Sam, you know this. You look like you know this.
It's on the quiz, dude. I know. It's like $2.04, right?
Yeah, I think it's like $2.07. You're close enough.
Or maybe it's $2.07. Okay, I knew it was $2. Yeah.
I mean, we were shocked. So the 256 gigabyte little chip, $2.07. It might even cost Apple less because they're buying in extreme bulks. That's what it would cost them to say, hey, it's 2022. You're buying a machine that says Pro. This is the setup that we had last year. The 128s, they're in short supply. 256, there's plenty. We're going to spend $2.07 extra. We're going to give you 512 as a base. Like people have been asking for years now. Like 256 is not enough in a Pro machine. Maybe raise the price if they want to keep, a little bit more profit margin. Raise it by $100, but everybody would have been happy. So it's not like there's a crazy shortage of chips and it's so expensive and Apple has to do something to save their company and, lower prices. $2.07. That's what this issue is about.
So you're really saying that Apple could spend $4.14 in a $1,300 machine to give us 512 gigs of SSD that are fast and good?
Well, it already has 256, so they would only have to spend $2.07, likely $1.50 because they're buying in higher bulk. So yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
See, that sounds too good to be true, though. Like I watched that in your video, I was like, because if I'm Apple, right, and I'm selling a $1,300 computer with already like a 40% margin, yes, $2 add up when you're moving 1 million of these a year, but also like $2 out of 13. Like John and I have been working on a lot of stuff for like our margins and future drops for Genius. And trust me, this is very, I feel like I'm starting to get good at this. It's like, what is a good margin? When do you have to take a step back? Where can you cut corners? And did I freeze up again?
You did.
That's all right.
This
You're back now.
freaking internet. I'm calling AT&T. Watch out. All right. I'm just kidding. That's not a threat. Just gotta be careful. Just a joke, just a meme. Just fix my fucking internet. So like I'm just like, that's crazy. Like that, it seems like Apple would make that call, right? Like if I was doing a product for the podcast, right? And it was like, you're gonna lose 0.5% of your profits to like double or triple the performance of something, I feel like I'd make that call. I feel like there has to be more to the story. Like just my gut says there has to be more than Apple just wanted to save $2.07.
I actually have a thought about that. Something that I've noticed. I don't know if you guys follow like Apple earnings or Apple stock or anything. But in their Q1 earnings, they mentioned that they were expecting lower revenue, specifically from China. And I don't think they mentioned it, but there could be demand going down, which Ming-Chi Kuo has been talking about, smartphone demand, everything basically going down. You see Samsung making less TVs because demand is going down, all that kind of stuff. So my thought is, what if Apple is trying to save profit margins like as much as they possibly can? Like I've noticed that the back to school promotions from Apple aren't as good as they were last year. Last year you get free AirPods for $159 value. Now you get either a $100 or $150 gift card. But another thing is the launch of the M2 MacBook Pro. Apple said it's going to be coming in July, but out of nowhere they're like, hey, you could order it in June and it's going to ship in June. And everyone's like, whoa. But it turns out it was only the base model. So maybe there was a call where they're like, hey, let's get this out early because June is the last month of the quarter. So if they could push more sales right before the end, kind of like what Tesla does, where they just get as much deliveries of Teslas as they can before the quarter ends to make their numbers look better. So I'm wondering, what if something like that was going on where they're like trying to save profit margins everywhere across the board to try to make everything look better for their numbers?
And I mean, so that's maybe what Tim Cook does, right? That's Tim's thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I think Vadim.
That makes sense.
Go ahead.
No, I just said that makes sense. Go up. I want to hear your thoughts, Max.
Yeah, I think you guys are right. That's what Tim Cook does. Vadim and I were watching a video earlier, and I think it'll be in the review, the beginning of our review. But it was basically where Apple says, "Hey, we don't ship. What did
we don't ship
Steve
junk.
Jobs say? We don't ship junk." And he said, "Hey, this is our pride. We're never gonna, make something worse. Just we're not gonna allow that. We want to recommend these machines. We're not a company like that." And then you see Tim Cook sitting on the side, kind of uncomfortable looking. Not saying that he's
like, I want to ship junk. Think about the money if we ship junk.
You read through the comments, and it's just like these banger, hilarious comments, one after another. So that part, it was obviously Steve Jobs. He delayed products because he wanted to be excellent. He really cared. And I'm not saying Tim doesn't care, but he cares about efficiency, profit margin. And my big issue, I agree with exactly everything Vadim is saying, but to me, this product is the king of profit. You have a 6-year-old design, 6-year-old LCD display, everything that webcam's been there forever. They could have put in a better webcam, made that 1080p. They didn't. They could have put in MagSafe. They would have had to, redesign the chassis a bit. They didn't. So this whole thing is already such a profit monster of a laptop. None of their other laptops come close in profit.
I'm worried that they learned this from the iPhone SE. That worked so well, just reusing that chassis. The profit margins on that were insane, and it did bonkers. But the iPhone is they do that with an iPhone, and I'm like, okay, yeah, you can get away with that. There's a market for that. It's a good entry level. But they didn't call it the iPhone Pro, and then try to convince everyone that it was still Pro. They marketed it different. They said it was the iPhone SE. That was that's why it was cool. And they're doing the same thing they did with the iPhone SE, but with a MacBook Pro. And I just don't. I get it from their standpoint. I get it from I understand why they did it from a business standpoint. I understand why Tim Cook did it specifically, but it's just what about the people? What about the people that have to buy it? And I feel like the people buying this machine, they're not the people watching the Max Tech videos. They're the people walking into the store and just being like, "Oh, that's Pro. I want that one." And then they walk out with that, and it's just a disaster.
Yeah, that's part of the reason why.
Wow.
It's everybody's fight for it. Right you guys go. You guys go.
That's part of the reason why I've been trying to spread the word about it. I wouldn't want anybody to be buying this.
Well, you need to go stand
Pro.
in the Apple stores, just before anyone walks in the door, hey, whatever you're thinking, immediately no.
Yeah, can you guys organize an Apple Store protest?
Yeah.
It's just a QR code with your video.
Man. I actually have a nickname for this MacBook. It's the MacBook Inflation Edition.
Wow.
That's what it is.
The IE.
No, it's funny you guys bring that up because I was listening to a few podcasts with, I want to say it was Trip Mickle, who just wrote that Steve Jobs, Inside Apple it was called After Steve, How Apple Lost Its Soul. I don't know if you guys remember the press about that book, but I have not read it, just to preface by saying this, but I listened to a number of podcasts. I think the Vergecast, John Gruber's show, where he interviewed Trip Mickle about it and how Trip worked on it, and how essentially after Steve passed, the design team was their own thing. They kind of got to exist in Johnny Ive's lair, and it was this sacred place that it's this is where innovation happens. The best of the best work here. If you're in here for a purpose and for a reason. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, business people started showing up, and we're hey, what if you used a different material?
Yikes.
Mm-hmm. Hey, what if we change something here? And that is where the sort of thesis of the book, that's just one of the parts that sort of supports the thesis that, Apple lost its soul and it's sort of just this corporate conglomerate. And the way Tripp talks about it, it wasn't written to be a gotcha, Apple's done, they're boring. But I think it does highlight parts of the company that, that can have changed, right? That
I don't care. We got our
soul.
SD cards back. I don't care about their soul.
Yeah. but I wanted to bring that up because I feel it very much ties into the conversation about, perhaps there was somebody in the room that was like, hey, let's just use one single chip. And maybe there's an engineer that's, I mean, we don't know, right? And Apple's not going to talk about it, but man, it would be absolutely fascinating to see those financial breakdowns specifically for that MacBook Pro and the iPhone SE. Like, how much per device is Apple making? Just hundreds of dollars flat out, I'm sure.
Oh, a ton on that machine of profit.
Guys, why don't we make our own MacBook Pro? Let's make our own silicon. We'll call it
you guys probably
the Genius machine.
Yeah, you guys probably have enough of that like chassis in your offices. Let's just start making our own. Just take out all the internals and start making our own.
Yeah, that'd be wild.
Did you guys order the M2 MacBook Air?
I did. Yes.
You did? Okay. I think you guys are gonna have your
pickup in store.
You should. I think you guys are going to have your mind blown by how thin it is. A lot of people are going to be blown away. It is like incredibly thin.
Wait, how do you know?
Yeah.
I just know. I mean, people, when you feel it in your hand, it's going to blow your mind because I think it's...
Bro,
Vadim, you can't just be... What are you saying?
Why'd you have to say that?
No, we didn't get it. We didn't get it. We're on the blacklist, but...
Gotcha.
It's as thin as the iMac, I think, and the iMac is insanely thin. So it's going to be like an iPad Pro on that bottom section. It's just going to be insane. I think.
How do you know this
if
information?
You pick it up, I just looked at the comparisons. Like somebody on Twitter.
You didn't look at the comparisons. You said when you feel it in your hand.
We're
making cardboard mock-ups, guys.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just gonna say I personally think this is just a little guesses-y, as we say here in the Midwest. I think Apple stores are getting stock early, and some employees have touched it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but Vadim doesn't work at an Apple store that I know of.
No, I'm just saying.
They wouldn't let him 80 foot from that place.
Have touched it. Yeah, especially with his sign. Especially with his sign that says "Don't buy." So okay. Here's the question. I'm gonna throw a wild guess out there. I'm gonna say,
oh no,
Apple did the same thing again. They used the same SSD, that darn slow thing with 8 gigs of memory swap. If it is 8 gigabytes that struggles with performance and it is that same 256 gigabyte that is slow, would you guys do the same thing? Will you not recommend?
Well, it's in a MacBook
M2
Air.
MacBook Air. That's what I'm saying. Like, would you not recommend that base model? Because like the base model M1 MacBook Air was like perfect and everybody loved it.
Yeah, honestly, we'd be telling people to buy the 512 if it has the same issue. We just can't feel right recommending a machine that has messed up virtual memory swap. And like it just sucks, as Apple just made such a big deal about like the iPad Air not being able to support virtual memory swap for Stage Manager because hey, the other one has super fast SSDs with virtual memory swap. And then they go and give the M2 MacBook Pro a single NAND chip and just butcher the memory swap. It makes no sense. It's terrible.
Yeah, the $600 iPad Air 64 gig has way faster SSDs than this Pro MacBook Pro, which is ridiculous, I think, in our opinion.
Yeah.
And I think what's really ridiculous, for those of the people that stayed out of this whole controversy and still think that we made it too big of a deal, we have like the end of our comparison with the M1 MacBook Air. And there's a section where we're not just doing anything extreme, but the SSD is loaded up. We got a photo editing program, Photoshop, open with like 9 pictures.
Max. Max.
Thank you, John. I was going to say this.
Was he just... Hang on. No. You were saying, if you don't mind, if I could just interject. Sam, do you want to take this one or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Max, we're sorry to so rudely interrupt you, but I would say 9 images in Photoshop open could be a little extreme. Could be something more than the average person buying a computer. I don't think I've ever had 9 images open, bro.
No, that's not what I was going to say. I thought you caught what I was going to say.
No, what are you going to say? That's my point.
Max, did you just like flutter by the fact that you guys have a MacBook Air?
Not that MacBook Air.
You said you said doing comparisons. At the end of your comparison, you did it with a MacBook Air. And Vadim just minutes ago said, "Oh, wait till you feel it in your hand." So what
Guys,
are you saying?
We already
Max?
have like 5 or 6 videos pre-shot ready to post.
That's what I'm saying.
That would be
Do
awesome.
you have one?
No, so I guess here's another thing. I come from Vadim and I, we shot weddings together.
You
wedding
didn't answer the
films.
question, Max.
We're just gonna let that one slide.
Okay.
You guys will see soon.
All right.
We come from a background, so if you guys look at anybody else that deals with photography, like the stuff we do on the channel, that's easy. Like people are opening up 300, 2,000 when we shot wedding photos in Lightroom at a time. You don't export 50 images if you're a photographer. You export 300, 1,000, 1,500. So, but outside of that.
Yeah, I just hear you say extreme, and I'm like, bro, 9 images open at once. Like, I don't know any person that's gonna buy that computer.
Oh my god, I probably have more Photoshop tabs open than I do Safari tabs.
Bro, I have like 4 Pixelmator files open at once.
That's why
like,
use Pixelmator.
Okay, well, Pixelmator Pro is incredible, and anybody who slanders it that program is the best value on the App Store. $80 one time. I have used it for thumbnails for about 5 years now.
You also use AirPods 3, so.
And you also use an iPad Mini, so.
You also use an iPad Mini.
Put that in your steak and cook it, bro.
Vadim, iPad Mini, the best iPad or?
Oh, I think it's great, especially for kids.
Yeah. No, what? What?
Oh man, it's so good. I mean, you guys don't have
for
kids yet, right?
You mean it's great for everybody?
Sure, it's great for everybody.
Max?
No, it's good for like media consumption. The size. What is that noise?
Sorry.
I love the iPad Mini.
No,
I think
Mini.
it's
Yes!
one of the best gaming devices.
What?
Yeah.
Yes!
You want to play?
No!
Perfect size for gaming, YouTube, everything. It's awesome.
It's better than my iPhone. I'd rather, if I could only have a choice between one, I would pick my iPad Mini, which is right here on me always. Thank you very much.
Bro.
Great
Sam,
device.
where's yours?
It's such an annoying, like, bad product.
Well, you are greatly outnumbered here.
You should start making video
that's why I'm
after video.
quieter. Yeah, I should make 8 videos. Does the
Just
iPad
talking
Mini
smack
throttle?
about There you go.
I opened 80 tabs on my iPad Mini. Here's what happened.
Apple said it had sustained cooling under high load.
I put it on my
and the
stove,
only thing
and
I got
that's a
is
lie.
a load of shit.
iPad Mini
Yeah.
versus stove. Sam, you know what I love? Wow, you used to have so much coffee in there, but you drank it all because it was so delicious.
Oh man, I just love coffee, but isn't there a way to get like high quality stuff shipped to my door?
Well, not just high quality stuff and not just shipped to your door, but like actual delicious coffee. Sam, have you heard of our new sponsor, Trade Coffee?
Yeah.
Trade Coffee. Welcome, Trade, to the show.
Dude, did you know that they have freshly roasted beans from 60 of the country's best craft roasters? These are small businesses paying farmers fair prices to sustainably source. You know, this is a big thing in coffee. A lot of people do some bad stuff out there.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. People call you a coffee snob. People really know when coffee tastes perfect, though. All right. And there's real coffee experts that know what they're doing. All right. They taste test over 450 roasts to know exactly what's right. Could you imagine being that guy that had to drink 450 coffees?
I wish it was me, dude. I wish I got Trade. Is there a way for me to volunteer for this job? I want to do that.
Dude, that's because you know what you like. You know it would be different. That's why they've got the selection for you. You just answer a couple questions and they give you your own customized variety. It's such a good idea. They're going to give you exactly what you want. John, what do the people do to get started with Trade Coffee?
Well, listen, you're not alone. If you say this is a good idea and you're like, man, this really sounds good, but has anyone been doing it? Yes. Trade has delivered over 5 million bags of fresh coffee with more than 750,000 positive reviews. That's a lot. I almost said 50,000. It's actually way more than that. Right now, Trade is offering new subscribers, that's you, a total of $30 off your first order plus free shipping when you go to drinktrade.com/genius. That's more than 40 cups of coffee without the coffee price. That's free, in case you weren't paying attention.
Holy smoke, guys. So get started by taking their quiz at drinktrade.com/genius and let Trade find you a coffee you'll love. That's drinktrade.com/genius for $30 off.
Thanks, Trade Coffee.
Well, what other? Here, guys, we've been talking about the MacBook Air. What is going to happen with this product? We saw this, John. If you share my screen real quick, bro, I had people like DMing me. They were like, "Delete this now. Do not share this."
Why?
Because they thought that like I was going to be responsible for getting Marquez fired from Apple or something.
Does he work at Apple?
He's the one. No, I'm just saying.
And
like,
also, it says via somebody else.
Yeah, it's also like he left the video up. Marquez could have taken the video down.
It's also Marquez, bro. You think that slipped by the team?
Yeah, I feel like it's intentional.
So yeah, as you guys can see,
this isn't the first time he's done that.
Yeah,
as you
guys can see, there was a briefing for the Apple MacBook Air on Thursday of last week. Obviously, that was them sending out it to media. And basically, what I've heard about the briefings is that Apple is just like tells you a bunch of talking points that you know already. And then when you ask them questions, they're kind of like, oh, I don't know. Just a result. Like, I don't know. It's just, I feel like the briefings are just kind of like a reiteration, but it's a formal way to ask questions. And, it's cool. I mean, I'd be down like Apple. I'll sit through those all day. A briefing, 4 hours. I'll block out my whole darn week. I'll fly out to Cupertino.
They probably tell you not to talk about the SSD too.
No, what I have heard honestly is that Apple never says don't talk about something. They'll just be like, we really like how fast all of our SSDs are.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. But like I've like genuinely talked to a lot of people to get the products, and everyone unanimously, no recording happening, like 1-to-1, has been like, Apple has never said that I couldn't say something. They may just suggest formally, what they want to share, but like they never say you can't put something in a review.
I don't think they'll say you can't. I think it's just a matter of if, like, are you getting invited back next year?
That's what I think too. That's what I think happened with this M2 MacBook Pro launch, because there are some people who got review samples, and still to this day, I don't think they've mentioned this single NAND chip issue at all.
Well, okay. Question for both of you. Apple's like, okay, listen, you get to have units early. Well, do you trade that for the level of work that you do now? Because you know for a fact that you do this one time with one of the review units they send you, and they never talk to you again. So it's like, do you enjoy what you do now more? Like, are you the freedom that you have now, or would you trade that? Would you be okay with trading that for early access?
Vadim?
No, you can go. I've been talking too much. You can go.
No. I think the results speak for themselves, like based on the channel. If we wanted to get review units, which we've wanted it for years, we talked about it when we started Max Tech, we would not be doing videos where we're telling people, hey, here's the issues, you should avoid this, or don't spend the extra money on that, you're going to get no difference. When you do videos like that, or stop, don't buy this, in a month there's going to be something way better for the same price or cheaper, Apple's not going to like that. And there's a reason why the people that are defending Apple so heavily on these issues, they get review units, And the reason why some of them that say, hey, if you want to get 8 gig versus 16, there's no test. Like, just get the 16. Just get the 512. It's only another $26 a month or whatever.
Yeah. All of them but Sam.
Yeah, like I feel like I'm like the fairest person to Apple out there. Where like just as much as I hype Apple up, and because it's genuine, like I don't do that for an agenda. It's just as much as I love Apple, when they do the stage manager thing, I'm like, yeah, I get why people are upset. For this M2 MacBook Pro, when I used it, it was fine. I didn't obviously go through the strenuous, workflows and usages and genuinely push this machine to the level that you guys did.
Right.
So I'm like, it's still a fine computer. Even if it's a base model, for me, I'm like, most people are going to buy this here. It's going to be a good MacBook, going to last a long time. But I totally get and agree that they're like, I appreciate what you guys do. And I watch your videos anytime all the time, right? Like I love watching people's different perspectives and opinions. And I think what's happening in the community, right, is not the community. What's happening in the world is that everything has become so polarized where you're either team Apple or team hate Apple. And it's very easy to lump people like you guys. People be like, oh, well, they hate Apple. It's like, okay, well, that's obviously not true if you look at their catalog. This is just one product in particular that they do not like and are not a fan of. That's a fair thing to do. They have the evidence to back it up. They've done the testing and the work. There's other people out there that I do definitely feel drink the Kool-Aid and that do not do a responsible job. Like people defending things ridiculously to the point where like people in their own comments are like, bro, I follow you, but like, really? Like I've seen videos like that where even the own fans are like, you're defending this? Like you don't have to
drop any names, Sam, so we can have a guest next week?
No, I don't want to drop any names because you people, you know, but Max and Vadim know. But my point with this is to say that it's hard to be in the middle. And I feel like we're just seeing that more and more where it's easy to get lumped into one of those, like Jonathan Morrison, for example. Like me and John were like, he's the golden boy, haha. I meet Jonathan in person. We have him on the show, and it's like totally different. He's like, no, that's not it at all. I'm sharing my experience, and I feel like that's what it is at the end of the day. Is you guys are sharing your experience. Jonathan sharing his, Renee Ritchie shares his, Everyday Dad shares his, I share mine, John shares. Everybody's sharing their experience, and sure, there's an angle maybe sometimes, but. It sucks that
except for Mark Garman. play music, Sam. Play music. I need music. Give me music.
Oh, hold on.
Come on. My point not good this... music. Serious. Turn it up.
It's gonna drop.
Mark Garman. I will battle you to the death. Come to this podcast and face me like a man. Do you hear me?
I'm uncomfortable.
Face me like a man. You won't do it. You won't do it, Mark.
And that was the most toxic thing that's ever happened on this podcast. Holy shit. I'm sorry to anybody listening for him. He gets off the rails sometimes. He probably hasn't taken his 64 pills that he's supposed to be on. I think he's maybe a little unhinged, as we say. He's gonna start shouting conspiracy theories next.
We good, everybody?
And Mark Gurman, the views of this podcast do not reflect Sam Kohl. I'm just gonna say that.
They do. My microphone is very wet.
Oh, that's so. I didn't need to know that. Max Tech didn't need to know that. They didn't need to know how moist your mic is right now, bro.
I feel like it has to be equal. We have to call him Vadim Tech for the rest of the show just to balance it out.
I mean, I guess that's all the big news. We're gonna see the embargo lift.
Really? That's how we're ending it?
Well, yeah, I didn't get to finish my thought. My point is that like. I feel like rather than assuming each other always have the worst intention, that the Apple people are like, oh, Apple's perfect all the time, and assuming that like Max Tech is like these horrible people that hate Apple, we should just be like, hey, maybe there's just things about something they don't like, rather than just casting them into a big shadow. That was my point. Rather than saying John Prosser is a bad guy for leaking, maybe it's like maybe he just likes to share things early. Maybe just because Sam Kohl doesn't get Apple products, maybe he'll get them one day. Can you guys say I'll get them one day?
You'll get them one day.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
After we get ours.
Yeah.
You guys do have like 3 times my subs, I think.
That's a lot.
That Max meant you're not getting them. They never plan to get them, and if you get them after them, then that means never.
Well, I actually have the iPhone 14 early. I've been testing. I held it in my hand. It's very thin and light.
Is it square and flat?
Those dummy models.
No, I have the real one, guys. I stole it from Apple.
Okay.
Wait, yeah, no, I didn't steal it.
Oh, man. Hey, guys, I just want to say huge respect to both your channels because you guys are hustling. Unlike, some other channels that are kind of
Mark Garman!
Oh, he's not a YouTuber. Shut up.
Exactly.
He's not hustling.
In this time, man, like things are slowing down, tech is slowing down, but you guys are still putting out the videos and like,
Thanks,
I think
man.
it's very important right now for people to hustle and put out as much content as you can because, things are changing, things are slowing down. So, we're already seeing some people who are, YouTubers, now they're getting full-time jobs and stuff. And, it sucks to see that. So it's nice to see the hustle because, you guys are pleasing the YouTube algorithm, you're keeping the views up and, so
I'm in the best moment of I'm in the best moment of my career right now, so I feel bad for everybody else. Sorry, everybody else.
That's me.
Oh, Sam, you're not. No,
it's not. I'm not. I didn't say I'm in the worst moment.
I was gonna
I'm
say.
slow.
No, you guys are doing good. I keep up on social blades. You guys are doing good.
Oh no. All right, we gotta go.
Yeah. And on that note, no. Where should they follow you guys? It was awesome to have you on the show. Thank you for coming on. First of all, also to while we're doing this little circle jerk here, from the bottom of my heart, I appreciate you guys coming on. Joking aside, I'm glad we got to have a conversation. I think it was so much more productive than just letting it pass. And it was great to have you guys on. Like, I don't know if you guys have noticed, if you watched the show, but I'm trying to make the rounds with everyone in the tech community. Like, I genuinely love that. Like, this is one of the more fun podcasts that I think is out there. And John and I love doing it. And we want to have everybody from the tech community on. Like, this isn't a left group, A group, friends only. Like, it's so cool to be able to have conversations with you guys, especially in this long form way where we can just chat and talk it out rather than just like tweeting at each other or being stuck in the DMs or something. And
it's what the people
obviously
want.
will not. Yeah, we won't agree on anything, or not anything. We won't agree on anything. But
you're thinking about the Gurman episode,
by the way. Yeah, John, they can't hear me, right? No. But no, it was awesome to have you guys on.
Thanks,
you guys work at a phenomenal rate, and I'm very excited to see your coverage of the M2. I'm looking forward to seven more videos on the M2.
They already
Air
have them planned.
7, come on, man.
Yeah, 14. We're gonna double. Yeah. Thank you guys. Where should everybody follow Max Tech, Vadim, and Max? How do you guys pronounce your last name? I feel like I sound like an idiot saying that, but I want to say it right.
Go ahead, Vadim.
Yuryev.
Yuryev?
Okay.
Did you get that?
That wasn't hard.
Max and Vadim
Not too
Yuryev.
hard.
Yeah, it's not bad.
No, sweet. I always like to ask because it's better than me going like Yuryev, Max and Vadim Yuryev.
We're
Happens
used
all
to
the
it.
time.
Our far worse ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, thank you. It's
Okay.
been fun. It's fun to hang out and have a kind of community. I know, like, I did camera videos before, and then we'd have certain events and press and all that kind of stuff.
My
and it was
headphones
fun
died.
to get
Sorry to
to.
interrupt you. Keep going.
I like how there was no reason to interrupt, but he just shouted that. Also, I have no voice. That's great. Go ahead.
What happened to your AirPods Max?
His battery died.
Oh, battery. Okay. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, it's just fun to hang out and do these kind of things. It's completely different than just posting videos or online. So.
Well, it was also like, I don't know. It's really cool hanging out with you guys because, up to this point, the only versions of you guys I get, are the same versions as everyone else, just like on the videos. That's how I see you guys. That's how I hear you. And so it's really cool to sit down and actually like be humans.
Yeah,
real,
absolutely.
yeah.
Everybody but Sam, apparently. He's not human. You good, buddy?
I'm good now.
Okay.
We've resolved some issues.
Okay.
Sorry, the M2 chip in my AirPods Max was acting up. So
Okay.
it started to overheat and thermal. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you guys. Follow them at Max Tech. We'll leave links down below in the description. You guys were awesome. That means
Thank you for coming on the show.
Awesome.
That
Thank
means it's the
you.
end of the show, guys. It was fun. All right, M2 MacBook Air, guys. Apple Soldiers Assemble.
This
It's a big
podcast
week.
is overheating.
Yeah. Bro, it was awesome.
My
I
voice
don't know-
is
I don't
shot.
know what to say at this outro. We're supposed to keep talking until the music goes. And
It's
then it
over.
drops.
There you go.
Oh, I need to turn it up.
That's like a cyberpunk.